Hello, hello. Alrighty. Good morning. Welcome to your class. It's been a crazy 2 weeks, hasn't it? So how about we take about an hour to feel it. So go ahead and set your blocks in front of you. You're going to take your left foot at the top of a triangle in front of the two blocks, and then you catch the right knee. You push the left knee back. Wiggle your chest up in between the arms. And then you balance. You're relaxing the right leg as much as you can into the hands. Wiggle the toes and roll the ankle of the right foot. You keep the left leg straight. Keep the arms and the legs in this very same position. But now you're going to push the hips forward and lean the upper body back. See if you can get a stretch in the front of your left hip. You're continuing to arch the chest up. And now you reverse that. Push the hips back. The left leg stays straight. Arch up, arch up. I'm not slouching even a little bit as I fold forward. And you're going to stop right before a loud hamstring stretch. So you'll start to feel a little bit of a stretch. And then you stop there, and then you come back. Hips come forward. And back. Challenging the range of motion in addition to your balancing squeals. You're balancing squills. Didn't know that word existed. It's when you look outside and you see a squirrel doing a bunch of tricks. Like, that rodent has squills. Ew. Back to the center. Huge breath. And then you relax the leg, shake the hands out, walk around. Compare your legs. Now we get our second side. You're standing on the right foot and you catch the left knee. Give yourself a moment to warm this leg up. Remember, your right leg is not your left leg. In case you didn't know that. But because you just did a bunch of work on the left leg, it's easy to rush when you get to second side. So as human beings, we're on a mission to get somewhere. It doesn't matter where it is. There's always somewhere else to be that is not now. In general, it's not that big of a deal that you're like that. The universal you. But taking time to actually slow yourself down and get present. You create the space for you to feel what's going on in your body right now without trying to escape it or change it. A little bit of practice here and there gives you many more moments where you can be present. Little bitty gifts throughout the day. There we go. You keep the right leg straight. You push the hips forward, arch up. Hips reach forward, upper body back. And then you switch. Start to fold at the hips. Arch up, arch up. Don't crunch the back of the neck. And then forward and back we go. Whee. One more time. And then back to center you go. Now don't let the hips come forward. Now you push your hips back as the head reaches straight up. Huge breaths are breathing into that right hip. Relax the left leg. 3, 2, walk about. Oh, so good. Feet hip width apart. Let's go ahead and come into our forward bend. Take the hands on the blocks as you wiggle your hips. Check out what's going on in the legs. Now before we work the legs, take the elbows on the thighs. Relax the weight of the head down towards the floor. See if you can get traction in the back. Two more breaths. Notice if you're holding on to tension in the throat, around the neck. Really let that head hang. Very good. Bend the knees. Pull the shoulders down, you arch up. Lower the lower back towards the floor. Lower back. Feet are parallel. You push your knees apart as you crush the balls of the feet into the floor to help pick up the arches of your foot. It's kind of a weird movement in the beginning. It took me a while to figure it out. My left foot learned quicker than my right. So if you notice that it feels a little dumb in your feet, like you can't quite access it, that only means that you've just not done this. So it does get better, but when you're getting better at stuff in the body, lift and lower the hips, it feels like it's never going to get better. So make sure you plan for that, make space for that to happen. Just lift and lower the hips. We're not going through a full range of motion yet. You'll still feel the legs. Three, two, last one. You bend the knees, come all the way down to your full squat. If you can get the heels down, you get your heels down. Otherwise, you're like me, you have your heels off the floor, but you're reaching the heels down as best as you can. And then you arch your chest up. Take down your head. Left hand on the floor in between the blocks, right hand on the right thigh. You push down through the right thigh as you push the left elbow onto the inside of the left leg. Twist your upper body. Try to look at the wall behind the right shoulder. As you turn, as you twist to look over the right shoulder, you can lean the chest, upper body back just slightly. See if you can get more space between the right side of your ribs and the right thigh. And then we switch sides. Right hand on the floor, left hand on the left thigh. Arch up. Pushing down through the left thigh. Light pressure in this right elbow. Twist. And you tip the body back just ever so slightly. How much length can you get along the left side of your waist? Beautiful. Come back to center. Hands on the blocks. You pick your buns up. Come all the way to your forward bend. Wiggle the hips. Feel the difference in your legs. Feel the blood rush back to your feet. Wiggle your toes. Perfect. Now you're going to slide the blocks to center in front of the left foot. You bend your left knee and we're going to come into weather vane. If you don't feel stable enough to have this right leg up, you just touch the toes of your right foot to the floor. Everybody has a left knee bent, and you notice that you can shift towards the front of your foot, have the weight mostly in the front of the foot, or you can have the weight towards the heel. I want the weight towards the heels. Now notice how much pressure is going through your hands into the blocks. Crush index knuckles into the block, grip with all your might. So you help protect the wrists. We don't want all of your body weight going straight through the palm, the heel of your palm. Great way to ruin the nerves in the hands. Now you bend that left knee even more. Press the left knee outward. Try to point your sternum to whatever might be in front of you. Maybe a cat or your mat. Or if you have a feline on your yoga surface, it's a cat mat. And then with this right leg up, try to keep the leg as still as possible. If the toes are still touching the floor, just make sure you're not pushing your body forward. We want almost no weight on this back foot and the weight towards the heel. We lift and lower the left leg. So same idea as we were doing before with 2 feet on the floor, but now we've given all the weight over to this left foot. Not rolling onto the outside of the edge of the foot. You're somehow still keeping the ball of the foot on the floor as you push that knee out. Don't let it fall in. 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Both feet down on the floor. Wiggle the hips, compare. Don't round the back. Do not flex your spine. Rather flex your paraspinals. What's going on in your body today? A whole lot. More than you could imagine. Shift weight over to the right foot. You center the blocks in front of the right foot. Make sure the hands are underneath the shoulders. Remember, a light touch on the floor with the left toes. But if you can, you pick the left leg up. Notice my right knee is bent. I like to pick up my toes because it helps ensure that the weight is in the right heel. But the toes can be on the floor. Just make sure that you're not shifting the weight forward. Let this right hip warm up a little bit more before we start dipping. And here we go. Lift and lower the hips. Left leg is pretty still. The left leg isn't doing any movement for the most part. All the movement is coming from the right hip. Awesome. Both feet on the floor. Go ahead and set your blocks aside. Hands all the way down to the ground. You set back for down dog. Tick-tock the hips. Feel what's going on in the lower body now. That nice relief you feel from no longer having the knees bent. And now you check in with the shoulder-ear distance. Remember, we want to have the head, if you can see your toes, that's also known as slouching. And that is the thing you do most of during the day. So you got plenty of hours getting better. This is called spinal flexion. Instead, can you point the sternum between the hands? I'm not looking forward with the head, but I'm also not staring at my toes. See if you can feel scapula gliding away from the ears towards the hips. Now you tick-tock their head. Whee. Head comes back to neutral. We turn, look left and right. Ooh. Perfect. Shift weight over to the left foot. You bend the right knee and we line the knees up towards one another. I'm still finding an arch up. Try to point the tailbone towards the ceiling. Don't let the knee come forward. Don't let it come back. You reach your right knee straight out. Dog on a fire hydrant. And then you close the legs. And then you open. And you keep going. Now, if your arms get too tired, you can always set the knees down on the floor. We're looking for sensations in the hips. Keep the left knee soft. As the right knee reaches out, the left knee presses to the left. So you're pulling your legs into side splits. Last one, and keep that leg up. If you can, you straighten the right leg. Reach the right leg out. 3, 2, come back to center. Shake the legs out. All right, second side. Bend the right knee slightly. We bend the left foot, left knee, pick it up. Make sure you're set up to win as far as your shoulders are concerned, so I'm not compromising my posture to get the job done. It's no big deal if you set the knees down. You will still feel it. We line the left knee up with the right, and then you open and close the hips. Left leg is reaching out. Not back, not forward, straight out. One more. Keep that leg up. Try to get the left knee higher than the left hip, and then you straighten the left leg as best as you can. Arch up, 3, 2, oh yay. Set the feet down. Touch the knees to the floor. The best part of being in down dog is getting out of it and onto your belly. Nap pose. You lie on your belly. And now you do the subtle work of turning off all the muscles you just asked to do a bunch of work. See if you can breathe into the upper back, around thoracic vertebrae. That's where all your posture comes from. Rather, that's where most of slouching comes from. You need the entirety of your spine for posture. And most of us deal with weakness in upper thoracic back. Bend the knees, pick the feet up, tick-tock. Pull the toes, spread the toes wide as you tick-tock. See if you can get a little bit of breeze in between your phalanges. what do you call them? Group of pals that like to eat hoity-toity dessert. Relax the legs down. Slide the elbows under the shoulders. Come into reading pose. Phalanges. Phalanges. And check out your neck. Eyes closed. See if you can feel the weight of the body encouraging the spine into this extended position. And now see if you can feel the weight that you're asking your shoulders, your elbows, your arms to deal with. It's less, but it's not a trivial amount. There's definitely work. And one of the cool things about gravity, other than it keeps us on Earth, is that it's pretty reliable. That's one of the reasons why I guess you get balance as fast as you do. It's because it's just the same all the time. You don't ever wake up in the morning and think, I wonder if gravity's going to be there. It's there. You don't even think about it. And so gravity is constantly trying to squish you to the ground. And of course, it eventually will win. The question is not about that. What do you do in the meantime? And so all this work that you're required to put out for you to just do this simple thing being reading pose, it's pretty intense. Pull the shoulders down. And arms, because they're not our legs, we don't use them the same amount. As you age, they tend to get weaker. So feel what it takes actually to deal with body weight. I want all this stuff to be strong so that you have an amazing quality life. You're able to do for yourself. I read this book recently, Walk the Elbows Over to the Right, called Being Mortal by Atul Gawande. Maybe you've heard of it. So wonderful. Things I never thought about. They're sort of in the background, but how important it is that as you get older, especially if you're going to be in a retirement community or in a nursing home, how important it is that you have autonomy. You get to make your own choices. Close your eyes. Try to breathe into the intensity you're feeling in the shoulders. Try to relax the belly, relax your face. Grip your hands into the floor. Pull lower body forward as the head and shoulders reach back. One more inhale. Fabulous. Elbows over to the left. So now we've lengthened the right side of the waist. Both hips are on the floor. And so whatever age you are right now, especially if you happen to be younger, in your 50s, it can be easy to forget about how important this stuff is. I remember when I was younger, my mom used to always tell me, "No, go out in the sun." I did kind of listen to her, but I also did not listen to her 100%. And of course, how it goes, you wish you would have. And it's hard to learn something before you learned it. But every breath you take, especially if something's hard for you, we're trying to connect your brain to this is what freedom feels like. This is what it feels like to be able to take care of yourself, have your back work. Grip your hands into the floor. You pull, pull, pull. Try to relax the belly so you can get a nice contraction along the spine. Ooh. Last breath. Awesome. Elbows come back to center. You straighten yourself on up. Don't take a break yet. We're almost there. Now we're going to pull forward with the hands. Head and shoulders are reaching back. Shoulders are reaching down. Head is reaching away from the body. Pull, pull, pull. Now you pick your elbows up 1 inch. Keep pulling with the hands. 3, 2. Let's give your hands and arms a break by taking your hands on your hips. Anticlimactic. Toes touching the floor. Squeeze your buns. Can you get the upper body even upper? And then you bring it on down. Touch the nose to the floor with a boop. And you come all the way back up. Touching your nose to the floor actually keeps this a spinal movement instead of a neck movement. Go through the full range of motion. We don't want a whole lot of articulation through the head. But the head is moving. Sort of if I take my arms out straight and I flatten my arms like wings. My fingers are moving, but that's not a finger movement. That's a shoulder movement. So my fingers are still moving. That's the deal with the head here. So although the head's moving, this is not a neck movement. Last one. Keep the upper body up. Squeeze your buns. Pick your legs up 2. 3, 2. Fold the hands under the head. Oh my goodness, it's amazing. Relax the head down. Couple of inhales to feel. And let go of all that work. To Carolina Wren. It's crazy how loud it is, isn't it? Bend the knees, pick the feet up. One more time, you take top. There you go. Here we are. Relax the legs down. We're going to come all the way into up dog. So the first part of this is you pick the upper body up. We slide the hands close to the pelvis, as low as you can be. The more your hands are underneath the shoulders, the more you're going to load in a position like this. And this is how you ruin your shoulder, also known as a slap tear. So we never want to load the shoulders with body weight like this. So the game is you get the hands as low as you can. You use your back for the first bit of this movement. Your hands, you can even pick your hands up 1 inch. I don't want any weight on the hands in the beginning. And the contraction you feel on the back is what I want the whole time, even after you add the arms. So upper body up, hands are placed. Push through the hands finally. You're still using the back though. And you come into up dog. And do a few up dog push-ups. So here you go. Bend the elbows, you slowly roll into the belly. And then same setup. Back mostly for the first half, and then you add the arms. Get the shoulders down the entire time. Keep them down. Last one. You stay up. Squeeze your buns. Can you encourage the pelvis towards the floor as you straighten the arms and pull the chest up? Now, if this doesn't feel sturdy for you, if it doesn't feel secure, then you stay right here. But if it feels just fine, straighten the legs, even pick the knees up. Continuing to squeeze your buns towards the floor. What is going on with your hands? Ugh. Use the fingertips, crush the knuckles down. 3, 2, and now you pick the hips up, push all the way back into down dog. And then you give yourself a nice little wiggle. Oh, so good. Perfect. Touch the knees down to the floor, curl the toes under, sit back on the heels. Or swing your arms. Make sure there's nothing you can whack behind you. letting go of any tension you collected in the shoulders and the arms. Especially the hands and the wrists. Can you feel the wrists dangle? At the very apex of the movement as the arms swing back. Grip your toes. All right, here we go. Let's do a little bit of work on handstanding. Even if you don't care about handstands, you never want to do a handstand, it's a great way to get your arms strong, and it's kind of fun. So remember, when it comes to the wrists, the main issue is that your wrists are not ankles. Your forearms are not calves, and your fingers aren't toes. So why we care about that is they're not strong enough. So if you feel any pain in the wrist, you take breaks. Shake the hands out. So important. No shame. Take breaks. That being said, when you're in a handstand, you're gripping with your fingertips and you're crushing the index knuckles into the floor. Like, grip, grip. And trying to keep the base of the palm from squishing straight into the ground. Squishing. That's right. All right, so your hands are going to be set up. Palms are going to be about 16 inches from the wall. Arms are straight. And we'll start with single leg swings. So both legs are going to stay pretty straight, especially the jumpy leg. So if you don't quite feel comfortable getting air underneath the left foot in the beginning, as you swing the right leg, you don't have to let the left foot come up. You just swing as if the left foot was going to come up. And then eventually you can get maybe 0.5 millimeter off the floor. But notice my left leg isn't bending. 10 each leg. When you've done 10, you switch. Light touches. Don't slam your feet onto the floor. And when you're on your 10th one, if you can, you jump all the way up to your handstand. Grip with your fingers. Crush the index knuckles down. And then you come all the way down to the floor. Touch the knees. Close your eyes, give yourself 2 or 3 breaths to take stock, to feel what's going on. Replenish all the energy lost with each inhale. The quicker you're able to relax and slow your breath down, the quicker you recover. And so for any of these versions we're doing, especially if you know it's coming, there can be this pull to ramp yourself up. Like, come on, you could do it. That's the environment I was taught to use my body in fitness. And it actually has performance go down. You're able to perform better and best the more you're able to relax. So it's almost like you're as relaxed as you would be just as you fall asleep. And when your muscles are relaxed, you get better circulation, which means you can express strength better. That being said, we're going to now do what's called a check mark. So check marks look like a check mark. Amazing. Still have the swingy leg is the same, but now instead of keeping the left leg straight, as you swing the right leg, that left foot is going to try to give you a little butt kick. If that feels too dicey for you, you just do the same versions, single leg kicks we did before. And there you go. 10 each leg. Keep your arms straight. Are you inhaling? And this one takes a little bit of coordination, so, if you have a chuckler, make sure you turn it on so you can chuckle giggle. Don't take it too seriously. And then we'll switch legs. Inhale. And on the last one, if you can, you sit all the way up. Oh, there we go. Hoo-wee. Inhale. And then you come all the way down. Boop, boop. Ah, so nice. Make a fist, roll the wrists. Shake the hands out. So you hang out here for a moment. I'm going to show you where we're going. As I'm showing you where we're going, paying attention, stretch your hands out, take care of your wrists. You make a fist, a tight fist, roll them. You might remember these. This is where we're going. This is likely not you today. So, the variations will include anywhere from bending the knees and lifting and lowering the hips. If you can't do that, just like we did leg swings for our handstanding, you swing a leg, the other leg will jump you up, and then you slowly touch the hips down. When you touch your hips down, one of the things that can happen is that the head and shoulders come right up. If your head and shoulders come up, you touch your feet down and touch the head down as soon as you can before you switch sides. So we're training abdomen to lengthen. In the beginning, it's sort of like rigor mortis. You cannot keep the head and shoulders down. It's not a big deal. You switch legs, lower the hips slowly. If the upper body comes up, you just set it down before you try again. All right. Here we go. So for the setup, you have the block quite close to the hips because we're going to be doing lifts and lowering. As you lie back, there'll be space between your hips and the blocks. It's not a big deal. We just want to make sure the hips are down. And there we go. Hips stay on the floor, all the way back. And before we start working on strengthening rectus abdominis in long position, you get to enjoy being over a block. Close your eyes. Notice if and where there's tension in your body. If there's a place that you're avoiding feeling. If there are places that you can't quite access. You know there's something going on in that part of your body, but you can't quite feel it. And as you're doing this scan of your body, we want to look at it from not a problem. None of this stuff is a problem. Just gathering data. Class is over. You have concerns. You can address them there. Right now, you're just trying to get present to it. It's part of the battle. You ignore stuff until it's so loud you can't. But there are warning signs all along. Plantar fasciitis is an excellent example of this. If you ever had plantar fasciitis in your feet, it was there long before it was plantar fasciitis. You just ignored it. And so you want to listen to our bodies well before danger. So just notice. How deeply can you inhale? Can you feel that fight to expand the ribs? Very good. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Right where the back is touching the block, you do not lift your hips. You do not pick the head up. See if you can pick the lower back up off the block. And you relax that down. Let me see if you can contract it again. Oh, get a nice good contraction. Let's go ahead and do that 10 more times. Contract, relax, on, off. 2. Last one. You hold it up. Bend the knees. Pick the feet up. Keep the back contracted. And now here we go. It's time for liftoff. We'll start with knees bent, if you can. You're going to somehow figure out what it would take to pick the hips up. And then you touch them down to the floor. Lift and lower the hips. Knees stay bent. We'll just do knees bent today. Remember, if the upper body comes up, don't worry about it. You just get the head back down to the ground as soon as possible. But do not touch your feet down before the hips come down. So hips touch first, then you touch the feet and the upper body down. Notice if you're grunting or holding your breath, have it. Inhale. Let's do 5 more. Inhale. Last one. Ooh, feet wide. Hips down, tick-tock the knees. Oh, so nice. And now drop the knees over to the left. You're going to roll onto your side. And we're going to come into our twist with the elbows on the mat behind you. Walk your elbows over to the left. Drape that belly towards the floor. Try to pull the shoulders down. We're looking for a sensation all along this right hip, right side of the waist. But you might feel this other places. That's okay too. Turns out wherever you feel this is where you're supposed to feel it. Isn't that a relief? Phew. One more breath. Excellent. You set your hands under your shoulders. Push down through the left arm. Pull the left shoulder back. You peek over the left shoulder. One more breath. Let's go ahead and do a kerflomp. Left arm crosses the mat. You flop onto your back. Arms out, legs out. And just notice. Notice what you notice. Could be a little jealousy on the right side. Don't worry, right side. We're going to get to you. We'll be right there. And just bask in that little twist we did through extension of the spine. In combination with all the other work you did in class today, it's quite sweet, isn't it? Beautiful. Let's go ahead and get second side. So you bend the knees, feet flat. And as wide as your mat, the width of your feet matters. It'll be tangled if you don't have the feet wide enough. And then drop the knees to the right. Roly-poly. Take your elbows on the floor behind you. Drape the lower back towards the floor. We're creating this articulation of the chest, of the spine. And you try to open up, extend the spine a little bit more. You walk the elbows over to the right. One more breath. That's it. Hands underneath the shoulders, you straighten the arms. Push down through the right. Pull the shoulder back as I'm trying to fight to get the spine even more extended with this twist. And now notice if there's any tension along the right side of the waist, you soften that. Let the body hang as you fight for this twist in the upper body. And one more time, let that right arm come across the mat and you roll right onto your back. And you give yourself the joy of feeling the difference that twist made to your body, in your body. We got one more thing before we stand up. And as you may have guessed, it rhymes with Falkland. It's a back bend. So we're going to start with the legs straight. Keep the legs straight and down. Hips stay down. You're going to take your hands into a back bend position. So back bend position, if you take your arms straight up towards the ceiling, the palms face the ceiling. Fingertips are pointing towards the head. You bend the elbows. You take the palms all the way down to the floor. And then you take the hands wide, and we're trying to wiggle the hands so they're as deep under the shoulders as possible. You may not be able to do this. If you can't, you do the best that you can. Don't worry about the back bend today. Just see if you can play around with this position of the shoulders. Don't let the shoulders come up. The other thing you want to watch out for is width of the elbows. We want to keep the elbows squozen in. So legs are down for right now. You squeeze your elbows in, and you push through the heels of the palm. Grip with your fingertips. Can you pick the upper body up off the floor? Like so. Here we go. Now if that's going well for you, you can keep the upper body up. Bend the knees, take the feet to flat. And then you keep pushing up through the hands with the upper body. And then try to push all the way up into your back bend. Relax the head and neck. Squeeze your buns. And now on the descent, you see if you can get the hips to touch first. Bend the elbows, squeeze them together. Touch the hips first. Oh, you shake the hands and the feet out. Woot. Hey. Hey, hey. Elbows turn into choo-choo arms. Arms turn into choo-choo arms. You're going to gently push down with the elbows as you swing the legs down enthusiastically, and it'll pump you right up. Slowly, sweetly, and surely, you make your way to standing. Get up all tall and vertical light. Tick-tock the head. Make sure you don't feel lightheaded. How we be responsible for passing out is just the simple little tick-tock of the head. Palms face up. Thumbs try to point towards the ground. We come into our wonderful posture, fixer-upper. Wrists reach apart, elbows kick forward. Get the elbows in front of the chest, the thumbs are pointing to the ground. Notice where your pelvis is. See if you can get the hips to be over the heels. Head reaches up, get the shoulders down a little bit more. One more breath. 100 times a day, catch yourself holding your breath and slouching. Come into a position like this. You can just stand against the wall. Help you get upright. Promise it'll make your day so much wonderfuler. Relax the arms, close your eyes. Last inhale, you get to check out. All that hard work and effort has given you. Take at least a moment to soak it up. Appreciate the you that made your life work to be in class. That is not lost on me. It's such an honor. If you have any questions, please let us know. Self-high fives. Thank you so much for your patience. We're so glad to be back with you. Whee! The roller coaster of life. Ciao.